In just a few hours, I can barely believe it, I'm headed to Israel. I'm going to Israel right after Shabbat. I'll be back in time for next Shabbat, don't worry. I am missing a few things this week, which I'm kind of sad to miss: religious school, minyan, adult education, but very glad that I'm going to be back here next Shabbos to be able to share with you all I experienced. Thinking about this trip, I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, as I've mentioned, but also it's been strange to reflect because I was last in Israel almost exactly 1 year ago. It was the third week of December 2023, right after our annual congregational meeting, actually, that I was there on a Rabbinical Assembly Solidarity mission. And now, the second week of December in 2024, it's going to be right before our annual congregational meeting. I'll be there for our Rabbinical Assembly Masorti Movement Global Conference, our annual conference. And I was speaking to a friend earlier today, yesterday, and was speaking about why are we having this conference in Israel? And it's a couple of different reasons. It'd been planned since last year to have it be something. Usually this conference happens somewhere in the 48 contiguous United States, somewhere that's convenient for people to travel to. Israel's not convenient in the same way for people to travel to, but it is such a spiritual uplift and such an important thing for us to be doing at this particular time when Israel has been under stress and strain for such a long time, to not just go and support with our resources, but to go and support with our presence and to receive that blessing from Israel as we gather, as we learn, and as we connect, as we do with the Rabbinical Assembly every year. And so thinking about how I was last in Israel almost exactly a year ago, I was thinking about the idea of milestones. And I actually looked up the word milestone, and it two different meanings that both were probably pretty familiar with. One, a literal stone or a marker serving as a milepost to see how far you've come. But also a milestone is a significant point in development. And so also thinking about the annual congregational meeting, something that we do every December, I've been reflecting on the past year and asking the questions, where are we now as a community, as a Jewish people, and what have we accomplished over the past year? Especially because the last year has been so turbulent for Israel, for the Jewish people, for me personally and my family, reflecting on what has happened, and also taking the opportunity for some hakarat hatov, some gratitude to see all the good that has happened. So first, thinking about how are things different in Israel. I'll be able to share about that a lot more next week once I've had some personal experience of it, but we all know that things are different. And something also that has been over the past year, such a powerful thing for me to reflect upon, is that I was in Israel in December with the Rabbinical Assembly, and Rena Lee was in Israel in February with her Executive Directors Association, and it was so different in December and February. So I'm expecting it to feel very different from either of those times when I'm there next week. But of course, even though things have changed, even though things have progressed, we still have one thing the same, which is an ongoing need for solidarity. And I'm looking ahead also because we've been in this place of solidarity with Israel so strongly, so intentionally for the past year, and it's culminated also in a plan to visit Israel as an Adat Shalom community next spring after Pesach. I'm definitely looking forward to talking about this more next week and in the coming months. So how are things different in Israel? All those reflections. And of course, how are things different for the Jewish people globally, but also right here in our neighborhood? We've talked about this a lot over the past year, about how anti-Semitism, as we know, is being expressed very differently now than it was before. And something that many of us have reflected upon is that because it came to the surface so quickly, it wasn't like it was gone. It's just being expressed differently now in a way that's extraordinarily troubling. I don't know how many of us in this community are on their Merkaz USA email list. Merkaz is the global organization of the conservative movement that represents the conservative Masorti movement in the World Zionist Congress. But it's a worldwide newsletter. And in their email blast last week, they were talking about UCLA, which is right in our neighborhood, because of the anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist things that are happening in UCLA and how they're of note for the global community. And so anti-Semitism in our neighborhood, as we all know and as we have all continued to experience, is something that is affecting us very differently in the past year than it has in recent memory before that. And in this context, it is more important than ever to be proud to be Jewish, to be proud to be Jewish, and to be proud to be Jewish as an Adat Shalom community. We know we don't always agree, especially on matters of politics, but still, we are one people with one heart. Am echad im lev echad, and Adat Shalom continues to be this model for unity and diversity. We don't have to all have the same views to sit in the same room, to be in community, and to daven together every week. So thinking also about the Adat Shalom community and how things are different now in December 2024 than they were in December 2023, the word that comes to my mind is revitalized. We have this new energy. Last year, our theme for the year, which we kicked off on the high holidays, was New Beginnings. And the theme for this year is Build Your Jewish Future. And we're really in a place as a community where we're building our Jewish future together. One thing that I'm incredibly proud of on behalf of the community is that we have revitalized our membership committee, and we've been working on issues of membership in a very different way than we were just a year ago. We started a new membership tier, the Young Family and Young Professionals membership, to bring in young families to our community who don't have kids or don't have kids yet. And it's not only added member units, but what I think is so beautiful is that it's really created an opportunity for multi-generational memberships, where we have grandparents, parents, and children all joining the synagogue. Also, an amazingly powerful membership tool that we have, actually copies of it right in the back. There are a couple of people standing in the back, and there are some flyers. Our religious school calendar. Our religious school calendar is this tool that is not just a communication of information, but it's also a statement about our community and how we plan in advance and how we're looking towards the year ahead all the time. I want to give a huge shout out to Maddie Ziff, our graphic designer, who really made this possible. And just highlighting, we continue to talk about it, and I think it's so important to remember and to mention, we've added 5 new families in our religious school this year as of September. We have 1 more family who's in the process of joining, and 2 more families who are currently exploring membership in the Adat Shalom community, specifically for the religious school. So this is, of course, very exciting, and something I'm really looking forward to. We have 3 B'nai Mitzvah still coming up in this academic year, I guess, this 2024 to 2025 year. But if we look ahead towards 2026, we are going to be having an amazing amount of B'nai Mitzvah. We have several sets of twins, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And so also making this all happen, the work that our membership committee has been doing. We've been meeting regularly once a month and looking ahead not just to events that we can do right now, but looking at some big picture planning and how we can strategize to maximize our efforts and to really grow our community. Now, looking back at the last year, this is something that I'm surprised I almost forgot in the heading or the topic of ritual or religious life. See our Sidurim, the Sidur Lev Shalem, we got those less than a year ago. Isn't that incredible? And that was such a wonderful moment for me of being relatively new to the community. The community had worked on this project of new Sidurim for some amount of time that I'm not quite sure how long it was before I got here, but everyone was really ready to make that change, which was not just a statement of getting new books that are nice, but also looking to our future and saying this is a Sidur for a new generation of Adat Shalom, and we're ready to make that happen. Also something amazing that was a highlight of my year in terms of ritual and religious life. We had one of our Purim Megillah readers come to me and say, I'd love to read again this year, but the text on the Megillah is not so good. And so I checked it out and determined it was time for us to get a new Megillah scroll. And so we had 2 amazing donors, Naomi and Irv Friedman, step up and sponsor that for the community. And it was so wonderful to read from that this year. And also, last and certainly not least, Acharon Chaviv, I can't mention our ritual and religious life without giving an enormous shout out to Cantor for being such an amazing partner, such an amazing team together, and I really, really appreciate today and every day our relationship. So thank you, Cantor, for that. Absolutely. And speaking of other ways that Cantor is amazing, in addition to being on the Bima, he's one of the teachers in our religious school. And our religious school has a real all-star team this year. It's been just, it was one of those things where I knew it was going to be great, but to experience it is even better. So we have Cantor and myself, Ronit Scherf, who's an amazing educator of the youngest of our kids, and our religious school director, Rabbi Karen Eisenberg. The team has really come together this year. All of us were on the team last year, but this year it's really coming together, and it's giving us an opportunity to strengthen relationships. among the religious school students, encouraging those friendships, and among the religious school families, encouraging those friendships. But I think most importantly, between the religious school and the broader Adat Shalom community. This isn't a community where it's like, okay, the kids are over here and the grown-ups are over here. As we saw today throughout our Torah service on our Bima, we want to all be together. And so strengthening that connection is incredibly important, and to see the success we've had is just so inspiring to me. And also, I wanted to highlight one example of these religious school and Adat Shalom community events that I think has went very, very well the first year and has been going and went well the second year as well. Tashlich, where we go to the Kenneth Hahn State Park, and we don't just express our Rosh Hashanah observance of casting away our sins, but we spend time together, we take photos, we feed the ducks. It's a great time. And so I'm looking forward to continuing to build those traditions in the years to come, especially with our theme this year of building our Jewish future. And then last and not least, in the theme of education, adult education, something that I always have a lot of fun with. If you've done any classes with me, you know how much fun I have. Maybe it's too much, or maybe it's just enough. I don't know. And so we have 2 ongoing classes this year. Last year we had kind of a mini series model of 3 classes on this topic, 3 classes on that topic, or something like that. But this year we're going to an ongoing model, 1 class on Thursday mornings, 1 class on Wednesday evenings, and using that as an opportunity not just to study Torah, because we all know this is the age of Zoom. If you just want to study Torah, open up a podcast, go to a website. It's super easy. But this is different because it allows us to build community face-to-face, because we all know that face-to-face connection, that in-person connection, is what's bringing us together in this way. So I want to bring it back to the topic of Israel, as I can't believe that I'll be on a plane in about 12 hours. We continue as a community in our relationship to Israel to show our solidarity and our pride, and we know that because we're Jews, Israel is an inseparable part of who we are. And so I have an ask for you all. I guess I have 2 asks, but one, I think this is probably the most important one. When it comes to your views on Israel, when it comes to your relationship with Israel personally, continue to talk to me. I want to hear what you are experiencing. I want to hear what you're feeling. I know that there are as many different people as there are in this room. There are different opinions, different experiences, different views, and I genuinely am interested in hearing them all. Some of us already send me articles or send me to websites, but what's even better is to have conversations with me over the phone or in person. These conversations are not just helpful, they're precious in building our community. And the second ask, of course, the Israel trip. And so if you haven't already signed up, sign up if you can. And if for some reason you can't sign up, this isn't the trip for you to join this year, connect with someone in the community who is signed up, so you can have that personal connection of what's going on with this trip and why it's so important for our community. So when I went to Israel a year ago with a Rabbinical Assembly Solidarity mission, as soon as that email invitation reached my inbox, I knew it was an opportunity I had to take. Because being able to go to our Holy Land, to actually be there and experience it, is a blessing that so many generations of Jews before us never had. I came back, and even then, I remember speaking on this bima right after getting back at a time when it was not, going to Israel was not as sure a thing as it even is now, and it was before. And I said, if you can go to Israel, you should go. Rena Lee came back, and she said, if you can go to Israel, you should go. And now we're planning to go as a community, which is so powerful. This is a miracle. This is an opportunity that we really can't take for granted. We have to recognize the good and be grateful, hakarat hatov, recognizing that we have the opportunity to do this in our generation, and that is a precious opportunity indeed. So in a week, God willing, I'll see you again here with stories, updates, experiences, and Torah to share. And in conclusion, Adonai ozemo yitain, Adonai yavarech et amo v'shalom. May God give strength to our people, and may God bless our people with peace. Shabbat shalom.